Over the weekend, I was flooded with reports that there are schools that believe they should go ahead with the reopening of schools. We sensed danger, and we felt that we can't just persuade the public education system. We need to also persuade the private education systems. And the reasons are simple. They're in the same communities with everyone. Their parents are going to buy textbooks. Their parents are going to buy school uniform. They're going to be up and down. It's not about the capability of an institution to manage the virus, but it's the movement. The virus moves through movements. So movements of people. So when we're flooded that there are some institutions that are reopening, one Sunday newspaper ran a story about the school where we are. And I just felt that let me come and visit the school. Maybe they've got a different reasoning from what we have from experts from the Department of Health and the team that is advising the Minister of Health. So we came here, and when I arrived here, as I said, I was only welcomed by the principal, and the principal took me through that decision, that as a leader, you revisit your own decision. Because the school was already opened by last week.
Correct.
So the reopening was not a defiance. They already opened. The decision came late. And when the information was brought to their attention by the advisor, Mr. Matthews, and our team in the province, yesterday they then reconsidered. And they felt that they should migrate to online learning. And it's only, I think you said 7 learners that are in the boarding facility. That those are the 7 learners that will remain purely because they need to use the gadgets and the facilities and they don't have them at home. Then we agreed, and that is why I felt that we need to thank the leadership of the school. Then there are other schools. Amongst the culprits, the school is an institution of schools called Curo. And I had a long discussion with the group CEO of Curo this morning. Almost a 30 minutes telephonic discussion. And after our discussions, we agreed that they also have to reconsider their decision. So they are going to issue a statement later this afternoon, and they are going to make a decision that will ensure that they retract the face-to-face contacts. The only area where it's a gray area, we're trying to find how to manage it, is the ECDs, or what is commonly known as crèches. That's an area where we're discussing with Curo how to manage it. But you must also understand they've got learners that are coming from outside the country in some of their facilities. We said we'll also discuss that matter. But the next 2 weeks, they must cease to teach. And they will issue a statement to support that process. But they will do it in phases because they've already had learners within their school premises. There was one school as well in Lesufi that also sent a communique. So this morning they've retracted that communique. So any other school, I don't mind other provinces, any other school, whether private, independent or public, that is operating in Gauteng, they're in defiance of the state. And if they're in defiance of the state, we'll persuade them to a certain limit. If they don't want to be persuaded beyond that limit, unfortunately we have to act. And in acting, we'll find a mechanism within the law to act appropriately. We are also in the process of writing to the minister that this decision to persuade schools to delay by 2 weeks must be gazetted as quickly as possible. Because if you do that, then we've got the legal arm to act appropriately and deal with those that don't want to. But from the reports I'm starting to receive, many people received this information from the minister very late. And because now they've accepted and received this information, they are starting to retreat, and they're going to ensure that they come to the 2 weeks delay. And we are not saying 2 weeks delay purely because we don't want our learners to learn. We've got expert views that this province in particular is under siege. And I think everyone knows this virus is devastating. is causing undue pressure to all of us. It's causing undue pain. We are losing friends. We are losing relatives. We are literally losing everyone around us. And the virus is amongst our. It's no longer in China. It's amongst ourselves. And the best way to manage this virus is to minimize movement. And minimize movement, we really believe that we will against this virus. So that is still reopened. Any school that is operating now, we should persuade them and take this opportunity to say it's not about ability of to spread. It's about the movement that will happen. And we know this virus can get when there's a lot of movement amongst all of us. And that's the reason why we are persuading them to also retreat for 2 weeks. We'll monitor the situation. Experts will advise us. And experts have given us relevant information. Will indeed reopen. But if experts say we must, the school must remain closed, we'll also communicate that. And hopefully we'll be in a position to resolve whatever that needs to be resolved. Those that are online, there's nothing wrong, Principal, as I said. Those who want to migrate online, there's nothing great online. But unfortunately, that's the history of our country. Perpetuate those inequalities. But it's something that will sort it out. We are bringing on institutions that can close the broadcasters so that some of the lessons can be conducted using our television sets or radio stations. Some learners are not left behind purely because they're not going to be in a position to be online, or they don't have the resources for them to online. So once more, Principal, thanks for your cooperation, for your understanding, and we truly appreciate the relationship that will develop. I was saying to the Principal, I'm excited about this school. Looks very beautiful. And this school is 100 years old, actually. So it's something that we need to appreciate as well.
Thank you.
Principal, you can add your.
Yeah, I just would like to say that in an ever-changing world with a pandemic, there are always more questions than answers. And on Friday, with the information we had, that we revisited over the weekend, and we changed, communicated very direct, quick to our parents, and we made independently the decision that we will not bring our learners back today, make sure that they don't want to expose them to anything, and we'll start with online teaching tomorrow. But I just would like to state that we were open last week, and we had to readjust and make new plans. Thank you.
Thanks, President. You'll get it. Simple. Don't worry. You want to tell your name?
My name?
Yeah.
Mr. Koenig. Konig. But it's German.
Yeah? It's German?
Yeah.
The king. Okay.
I don't feel like a king. Klaus, yeah. First name is Klaus.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's raise hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, in that order.
This is directed online. Are all of your students, learners, catered for? Are they have all the facilities, all the equipment that they need to actually commence with that?
Okay.
There are mixed reactions to what we've seen. What would be your advice for what we know? Question for the principal Barry and the teaching school. The initial decision to go back to school, was that some pressure that you felt within school that you wanted to get a sort of head start for the year? What was sort of the feeling amongst the parents and leaders before that initial decision was made?
Linda from News from Africa. MEC, do you find that these independent schools are the ones that have been problematic in terms of following what was announced on Friday?
Well, let me start with yours. I don't think our schools are problematic. I think the consultation process of independent schools or private schools is problematic in our country. We have a formal relationship in the public education system with your teacher unions, formation and other things. But we don't have a formal loop with the private education system. And I don't think that there is also a piece of legislation that links private education and public education, which is something which is a cause for concern to some of us. The political party that I belong to, we are going to a National General Council. There are some suggestions that we want to deposit there. And it's simple suggestions. Parents might be here at this private school. Reality is that with the economy not performing, some of the parents cannot afford to pay. And if they leave and they want to go to a public education system, there is a disjuncture. So there's no fluidity that people can move from this side to that side in terms of the curriculum, language, and many other related matters. So start to establish that link. But there is no legislation that links private and public education in this country. So it's an area that we want to work around with it. EWN, last year, what did people say? You are reckless. You don't love our children. Said we're evil. And expert opened the school. We opened, and unfortunately, we opened at a honest. Yes, we finished the curriculum. Majority of our learners are going to get results now. Those that have already got their results, 33 teachers in our province. We lost almost 8 administrators in our province. But we didn't lose a learner through COVID on the basis of that advice. Now that the same people advised us to open, sorry, they advised us to close, people are fighting. So you are damned you are not to do it. But the consistency from the department is that we are expert driven. So when expert says move this way, we'll take that route. If experts say take this route, we'll take this route. When we opened, we had cases last year that agreed with us that on the experts, the schools were safe. So now then delayed with 2 weeks. We are waiting for court papers. It will definitely be those that will take us. There will definitely be those parents that are disgruntled. But the parent that is the same parent that will need a hospital bed. And when they don't get that hospital bed and that oxygen, they will see the price. And we don't want to rule on the basis of expert views. And that is why. So I'm to those parents. They're economically active. They want their children to get quality education. And sometimes when they're at work, they can't assist learners or other related matters. I'm very sympathetic to that. But the views of advice of experts, because if we undermine the views of experts go through this period, one day we'll defeat. I can assure you, we'll defeat us, and we that the will be one of resolving our fight against this virus. Majority of you, maybe I'm biased, majority of you will say the vaccine must start with frontline staff and other things. Must protect the future. Give the vaccine.
Look, that connection is not too good there to the Gauteng Education MEC, but you got the point he was trying to make with regards to that particular school as well. They've reconsidered and will now do online learning as well. So, but he did issue a warning, that is the Gauteng Education MEC, saying that for those schools that have decided to reopen for in-person or face-to-face learning, he said that they will try to persuade them to close and reopen at a later stage, or they will find a mechanism in the law to act. So that's the warning to those schools that have decided to reopen as well. So we will look at further reports from our reporter there, Nosipa Mngube, with regards to other schools that have possibly had a change of heart and decided to now close and do online learning. So stand by for that. That is our question of the day. We want to know what's your take with regards to some schools' decision to reopen despite the Education Department delaying the reopening of public and private schools. Send us your thoughts at the agenda_SABC. I'm told we have a few. Let's put it up. See what you have to say in that regard. Eugene, what do you have to say? Eugene says, I think those schools who decided to open their doors must not come back to national government when things get worse to them, because they are defying the Department of Education's orders. Sianda says opening of schools while the virus is at its peak is a huge risk. Even some government schools have opened, putting the lives of those kids at risk and their parents' lives. No gathering of more than 50, yet some schools are opening with no consequences. Ntoho says South Africa is one country and one government and laws. Any school that will reopen not in line with government's pronouncements is breaking the law. Proper action must be taken. My 2 children will start online learning today at private school, which is not a problem. Okhwajane says it's very disappointing. Mambo says they are shortchanging parents and communities by acting irresponsibly at a time where corporate citizenry should be marked by responsible behavior. Schools are super spreaders at this point, he says, or Mambo says, in this point of time, and all their stakeholders should take note of this carelessness, says Mambo. All right, we do appreciate your thoughts at the agenda_SABC. A number of live events we're monitoring. The inquest into the death of Dr. Neil